Twitch
Hey,
muted.
there we go. Got it. Got it.
Got it.
Excellent. We are all working, ready to go. Cheers. All right, mate. Well, this is one of those funny interactions, right? Like modern 21st century things, because we've been kind of knowing each other and been chatting in Discord for months, and I've hung out in your stream and chatted to you, and you've spoken back to me, and you've hung out in my stream and chatted to me, and I've spoken back to you, but the two of us actually haven't conversed directly the whole time in all of this. You know, like, it's kind of a bit wild the way that our modern world works like that, right?
More interesting, and I'm 2 years old. This is still amazing to me, conversing from opposite sides of the world right now.
Yeah, video calling, no less. You know, I mean, you and I both growing up, if we were talking to people overseas, we had to wait for it to bounce up off a satellite, bounce back down, and there was so much internet, so much delay, and just in that conversation, it's pretty crazy.
Percent.
So, kicking things off here, I guess the way I want to start this was just talking about the things that have been going on around the elite recently that you've noticed. So, look, it's not about me just sitting here and yabbering, so I'm interested in what you've been noticing going on, and I've got a couple of notes that I can refer back to if you happen to get short.
Over elite news, I think the biggest news has got to be Ace taking over the championship again.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, and not just that he's done it, but how he's done it too.
That's exactly where I was going with that too. Record one after another, untied one after another, asserting dominance and taking the championship all at the same time.
Yeah, and I mean, Luke hasn't been all that active this year. Like, he's been working pretty hard, but he's posted a few really strong PRs, like his control times are really good. Like, there were actually world records when he got them, but they were unproven, so he had to dupe. But yeah, like, the control 355 is the last in a crazy run.
Absolutely fucked.
Like, what else has he had in that? Like, he's had facility 40. Like, since July, he's had like, we got frozen streams. Let's see. All right. I think we should almost be right to go again. Didn't quite do the restart, but I've shut a few things down and changed a couple of things about, so hopefully that works. If anyone's in chat that can tell me otherwise, then we'll... Right, it's a flaming champagne bottle. Is that a new emote?
It's got to be.
Different
It's actually no other emote for spicy.
Either that or it's got to be the chili pepper. It's either got to be that or the chili pepper. But yeah, Ace, if we just ignore all of the technical difficulties and jump straight back into it, Ace got what? Facility 42, facility 51, tied, Clem's control untied.
With animal and proving when he's on his game and when he wants to play. Question.
Yeah, and just heaps of crazy stuff. Like, cut 6 seconds or whatever on Cav's SA by jumping in the mine throw strat. Got also, I mean, down to sub 112 total time. Just absolutely wacky. Like, actually, I'm looking at the ranks now, and and in total time, right? He and Luke and Clem were tied only a few seconds ago, or not a few seconds ago, back in like July, just before Ace started going wild. They were all tied around 2:18 or something. And And so Luke cut about 4 seconds off his control times, and Ace just come in and went wild. Went absolutely wild.
What, 22 seconds off of that 12:18.
Yeah. And just how optimized the game is at that level, it's massive. It's
if he keeps playing and he stays motivated, will overall combined time get below 111?
Where's that going to come from? Like, you might say 4, maybe 5 seconds coming off Surface 2. And
Surface 2 has room for improvement.
Like with I don't know what this strat's called, but Ace should be removed from the regular ranks, Wally reckons. We should just have an Ace only rank, and all us regular humans can play for what's left. It's not entirely wrong. Yeah, you got 4 or 5 seconds coming off Surface 2. I mean, our man Wally could be able to do that too. He's got 127. So there, I think Ace has said that he's failed even down to 39 on Bunker 2 SA, which is another 3 seconds. So
59 fails?
39, yeah, on Bunker 2 SA. So that's 3 seconds untied. And then we've always had the McGarbage 217 fail on Statue. So that's just a flight recorder away from one of the oldest standing records being knocked off. And I mean, any combination of those could add up and get. Yeah, exactly. It took 6 seconds off his Surface 2 00, and Wally, you're right. But any combination of that could add up to get us down to under 111 total time. I mean, there's the other wacky records that are out there too. Like if somebody, if Ace or Mark or maybe one of the crazy guys wanted to grind for like damn 153, that's kind of out there. Berg might get his Runway 21. I don't know what else is out there. Is there anything else? I'm just scrolling through.
I'm looking through the rankings now. I think that about covers it.
But yeah, solo OOAs. I mean, it's one of those levels that's really hard to optimize. Eric, you're right. So you could theoretically see that coming down, and if someone went totally wild, maybe Jungle 52. But I know Ace and Clem are both playing for Control SA 401. So there's another second as well. So yeah, any combination of that. Maybe Mop can get 1 minute on Cavs.
Hey, if he puts his mind to it, he's the closest one.
Oh, he's the only one that's duped 101. So yeah, there's potential going on there. On the Perfect Dark side of things, though, like there's lots of movement just in that kind of 9th and 10th position. I think Paulie is actually just knocked off Kev to get into the top 10, right?
Just happened. Yeah, I'm not all too well informed when it comes to Perfect Dark rankings, but movement as of late, and it's been exciting to watch.
Yeah, and so between 7th, so Taka's in 7th with 5,161 points, through to Alu in 12th, 5,120. You know, so there is 41 points between 7th and 12th on the rankings. Like, that's tight.
If anyone has the ability to just pull up the rankings right now and look at the Perfect Dark point rankings, how tight that area is.
And who knows, Ricky could be right in there at the moment too, right? So we've got K4 coming out next weekend. Who knows how much Ricky's going to gain out of that? Does he have 600 points worth of gain in there? Because if he gets 600 points, that would, well, theoretically, that ties him with Vitor.
And if we're talking theories here, Ricky's the one who helped to put K4 together. He was looking for to unhoard into the top 10.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, he's going to be right on that threshold if he's got it. Mark wants a word with Dupe 101s. Yeah, you're not wrong there, Wally. He duped it for money, right? Clem said he duped 102 Old Strike quite a bit too, apparently. So maybe someone like you can come along and knock it off. But yeah, Perfect Dark's been pretty wild. Although it's been relatively quiet on the Untied front this year for Perfect Dark. It's comparatively, I think they've been
may or may not lead us to the next bit of news. K4 coming next week.
Yeah, exactly. Looking forward to that. That's going to be interesting. Like, what do you think is happening in K4?
It's anybody's guess, of course. Wild amongst the elite. But you just mentioned that there's not been a whole lot of activity on Perfect Dark Untieds out of K4.
I say that there's been 19 seconds worth of Untieds this year. It's because it's so crazy to 19 seconds of Untieds this year, but 1, 2, what's that? Like 10, best part of 10 seconds of that was actually in January with the Villa clips. I mean, Perfect Dark's had some pretty wild Untieds this year, both MW17 and Flicker's Out of Bounds run on Crash Site. They're pretty wild. And then I guess Lake Demon and Mark went pretty crazy on Escape. So, and then so who knows where that's going to go. But yeah, there's definitely potential for Untieds on K4. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised if Ricky comes out with Chicago 14, which is one of the strongest records in either game. I mean, it was untied for 8 years or something between 2010 and last year when Joris got it. Which is pretty wacky.
Speaking of movement, and Carl M with the Unhorde, was it yesterday?
Yeah, over the weekend. Yeah, got himself top 20. And that's a proper Unhorde because it comes out with videos, right? Like all the posts actually had video times. So the other drama that's been going on is all this.
My last interesting bit of elite news. You know what? I'm not going to say his name. I think he's just wanting attention.
Yep, you're probably not wrong.
I'm going to promote his name, but there has been some interesting discussion on the elite policy front.
Yeah.
How much does somebody need to meet proof call standards posted before someone political philosophic question in the elite?
It's a really tricky one too, because we want new people coming in, we want new people joining. If you're only getting a handful of points, it's really not an issue. It's when they start stacking up. And this character we're talking about is now ranked in the top 70, I think, in total time. You know, so that you can get ranked really highly without ever being proof called. So I think the mods have handled it pretty well, to be frank. You know, they've reached out to him, they've asked for him to provide some verification of his runs, and told him if he continues to do what he was doing and get frozen, and kept doing it, so he got frozen.
Yeah.
So look, I think that's fair. If he had responded and explained he's got some sort of capture on the way, then we might have asked for some phone videos or a picture of an end screen or who knows what. But
supposedly he just hasn't posted it yet. So I think the news is still evolving on that one.
And if he actually is getting these times, like, he's a fucking cooker. He is absolutely amazing. Got some wild times. So like, if they're happening, I would genuinely be really happy if that happened. Really hope he's not taking the piss. Of me
wanting this to be real. It is.
He could probably play in the Ace League, right? he and Ace and Mark and Clem and those other wacky guys can play up in that league, and the rest of us can play like regular humans.
But that's what comes to mind for me.
Yeah, no, I think you've covered everything that I had in my little kind of dot points, unless there's any other like noob times that you've seen happen recently.
Noob times. So now, all right. So taking a step back from the top of the elite, I'm gonna shout out Perna actually. Leo Perna.
Been doing work.
Work on the license to kill rankings.
Yep. And if you're not playing Surface 2, any completion on LTK is tough.
And he's got, as of now, has over almost 400 points. I'm looking at his page right now. With LTK.
Yep. I mean, runways have slowed down at the moment. I think it was back in August, there was about 6 runways. I think we're runway 22s, that is. I think we've only had 1 for October so far. So that's slowed down a touch.
Someone else to shout out. It was a while ago, but it is news since
Sorry, I missed that.
B down.
Oh, B down. Yep.
Relative newbie. I think I'm looking at his page right now. He joined 111 points.
Yeah, B down's been making some good progress. Starting out with I think Depot 26 and coming along. Yeah, Runway's only had since Colton got it. There's only been 2. In fact, since Eric got it, there's only been 3. Eric created the blockage. This is all down to you, Eric. It's your fault.
Blockage. That may be quote worthy.
So that's what's going on. Have you been paying attention to anything else that's going on in wider speedrunning outside of GoldenEye Perfect Dark?
Ooh. Haven't kept up with a whole lot outside of the GoldenEye Perfect Dark scene.
I'm pretty out of date there too. I think the most interesting thing I saw was I think it's 2 months ago, where Majora's Mask had the debug menu runs. But even that's well out of date now.
Depends on how far back you want to go.
Anything in the last 6 months, say.
Yeah. Majora's Mask, I'm sure we'll get into it at some point later on here. Majora's Mask was one of the first games I started watching.
Really? Same, actually. Legitimately the same. So I'm probably here having this conversation now because of Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask is actually my favourite game. Probably still my favourite game of all time. I mean, maybe I've sunk far more hours into GoldenEye at this point. But I loved Ocarina of Time. But Majora's Mask was something else for me. I absolutely loved that game.
Let me I'm curious to get your thoughts. Anyone would ask, why Majora's Mask over Ocarina of Time?
For me, I didn't so much like all of the dungeons and stuff like that. I liked all the crazy puzzles and particularly the Bomber's Notebook. So like all the side questy stuff. I really loved that. And I just like so my favorite dungeon in Ocarina of Time was the Spirit Temple, because you went there as a kid and then you came back as an adult. It's kind of got these split puzzles going between the two of it. And because of the 3-day cycle that Majora's Mask has got, it just felt like a whole game of that. And so I just loved it. I loved the weird vibe of it. Like I was like 14 or something when it came out, so I was angsty and all of that type of stuff. I was listening to bad pop punk and smashing Majora's Mask. It was great.
I fall along with favoring Majora's Mask over Ocarina of Time as well. For scale, that to be considered one of the pioneers in that.
Yep.
Deep 3 dimensions, though, to me, was much more detailed. and that the world felt more alive to me.
Yeah, completely. Absolutely. I don't know whether that was just because of
it.
Like the 3-day thing meant that they could really define the characters and literally where they were at any point in the timeline. But it, yeah, I think you're exactly right. It just felt like a proper contained world. So yeah,
But not the Majora's Mask.
Absolutely loved it. Did you have anything else that you? Well, I mean, so you're of a similar vintage as I am. So, did you originally have an N64 growing up, or how did you get into gaming as a whole? There's a big question for you.
I don't have any working memory of this, but apparently I had a controller in my hands as young as 2 years old.
Yep. Playing Duck Hunt or something, or what were you playing?
Well, apparently I was playing Super Mario Brothers. I have no idea how well I was doing. My father had a yes, and would hand me a controller. He had it unplugged at first.
Yep.
Over time, he decided to plug it in and just see what I could do.
Handing kids an unplugged controller is a top tier babysitting strategy. I don't have kids of my own, so I can't tell you whether it's a childcare strategy, but it's a top tier babysitting strategy.
For me, but it had the, I think, unintended consequence of getting me absolutely hooked on gaming.
Yep. And then, so did you? If your dad originally had a NES, did that mean that you kind of stayed up to date with the consoles as they went through the different generations, or?
I had a NES at first, which was his, obviously. The first one that I got wasn't mine properly, but that parents had purchased for me was Super Nintendo.
Yep.
World was a standout on that console for me. Series was one that I played a lot on SNES.
Sorry, both of those just broke up for me. What were they?
Super Mario World was my first one.
Yep.
Country series.
Yeah. I mean, Donkey Kong Country blew my mind when I first saw that. Like, because of the pre-rendered graphics and being done properly, it felt like another generational skip somehow.
Super Metroid was one as well.
Yeah. Great.
Mine for me on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Launch a lot of our conversation today is then I got the first system that I got properly. That was mine. I built up enough cash to splurge on an N64. I was about 10 years old.
Nice. Was this pocket money, or did you have to mow lawns, or how did you earn the cash at a grand total of 10 years old?
Mowing lawns, just chores around the house. My parents would give me $5 a week upkeep around the house, and then I would go and mow lawns in the neighborhood. No, because I was living in Michigan at the time.
Yep.
And it was a very important child in a neighborhood there. Worked up enough to get myself an N64.
Nice. And so what sort of games did you come along with that when you first got it?
The very first game that I got for N64 was GoldenEye 007.
And you're still playing it now. What's that? 20
still playing it to this very day.
Now that's proper commitment.
Other games that I had that I've into before Super Mario 64, Majora's Mask. World is not enough.
I must have been the only kid that didn't play Super Mario 64 in its time, like to completion. I had an N64, but didn't actually. I don't know how I didn't play it.
I have to get this for myself.
So yeah, I borrowed a friend's and played through it a little bit, but yeah, didn't play too much of it for whatever reason. And So, like, did you with GoldenEye? How far did you get through the game? Did you manage to unlock any cheats or anything like that? How did you go with it at sort of 10, 11, 12 years old?
Time I got through the entire game on Secret Agent.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, entire game on Secret Agent except for one level. Secret Agent was the level that made me go out and get a Game Shark.
Oh, sorry, it just cut out there again. What was the level?
The whole game on Secret Agent except for Bunker 2.
Oh, Bunker 2, absolutely. Like the
What made me go out and get a Game Shark?
to turn on no hit mode or something.
Yeah, no, I think it was a invincibility. It was invincibility. It made me no hit mode. I forget. I haven't had a Game Shark in years. Survive and get through.
Yep. And then Double O Agent, Too Hard.
After that,
yeah. And were you trying to go for fast completions, unlocking cheats or anything like that?
to unlock cheats, I really hadn't thought about speedrunning the game.
Yep.
That I was focused on at that time. What stands out to me is caverns, agent.
Yep.
Guards as possible without them seeing me.
And so
I played the game at that time.
Yeah. And so you in your travels of trying to play through GoldenEye and beat it, had you ever come across the Elite in the 20 odd years that it existed before you joined?
Not until about a year before I joined.
Really? Just never seen it before?
I never thought about it.
Yeah.
The idea of speedrunning had not crossed my mind until actually.
So you had, I guess, looking at a speed running and all, you didn't look at that before you started looking at GoldenEye, or how did you start looking into either playing GoldenEye again or speed running, or how did that come about? What made you come back to the game, I guess, after 18 years or whatever?
In my fourth year of medical school, I was applying to residency, which is the medical training.
Yep.
The application process, I was looking for some kind of escape, some type of break. Where I heard about it, we started to look into, say it was live.com is the one that I'm thinking of right now. Some kind of before jumping into speedruns live. I found Cyglemic.
Yep.
Super Mario 64 120 star back in August of 2012. But
Cyglemic keeps coming up. Like, I feel like I missed out because I started, following speedrunning a few years after that. But it's a really common. It must have been like the energy and all that kind of focus that was going on at the time must have been really magnetic.
And it's amazing. It wasn't even the energy that he brought. One in real time, destroy a game that I played 15 years prior. For me, just to get 120 stars and to watch this guy do it on a nightly basis that I had never even thought could possibly exist.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Like, I still haven't actually ever got 120 stars. Maybe I should have joined in the Alka stream to learn how to get all 120. I went back to play the game. Like I said, I never actually played Super Mario 64 in its lifetime. I went back to play it a few years ago, and I got my 70 odd stars and went and threw Bowser and said so long and finished the game. I haven't actually gone back and got all 120. I've got 80 or 90 stars or something.
If you were to jump on stream and go for 120, I think there'd be a lot of people who'd want to watch that.
And so did you kind of hang around the fringes of speedrunning from 2012 on then, or what did you get up to? So
I was just watching at the time. Cyglemic got me into it. remember Friday nights, my wife was into swing dancing.
Yep.
For practice, and I would go to a nearby Starbucks. I'd work on my applications. I would have in-op.
Yep.
Watching him run Majora's Mask.
Yep.
Went from there. Watching Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time. Those were the main games that I followed for.
And then, so did that just start morphing to become GoldenEye that you wanted to look at, or how did that start coming up?
I came across Goose's speed lore.
Yep.
In my medical education, I was studying for my written board exams, and just looking for a break, looking for an escape. YouTube, I came across. This is a game that was important to me in the past, but I had never seen a speedrun before. First episode I watched was his Frigate episode.
Yep.
Immediately.
And then
watching GoldenEye being played at the highest level, it was an itch that I needed to scratch.
Yeah, so you came into it that way. Nice. And so, like, back in the starting out days, what was sort of some of the first times that you went for? How did that feel?
To do was just try to fill my times page.
Yeah.
It was about 14 months ago, almost to the day, for the first time, and it just brought me back immediately.
Nice.
The whole game on Agent that first night.
Yep.
I knew Dam was a fairly common time to go for, so I did that one. And those were the first times I tried to grind down. And I think I maybe got to about a minute 10 on Dam.
Yep. Yeah.
Fill out the times page.
Saw Cynthia, who's Wotus's partner. She started doing the same, working her time from Dam Agent. I think it was last week or Thursday, Friday last week, was working her Agent time down on Dam she started out at 2:30, and I think by the end of the night she got down to 1:10 or something. So it's that's how a lot of people are starting out, I think.
And a journey from there.
And so I remember I joined about the same sort of time. I basically joined like bang on 12 months ago, just short. And I remember seeing this guy Cytosis posting up pointless times. I'm doing the same. So you were one of my original nemesis. So what's this guy got? I've got to go try and knock it off. So what's one of the couple of times that kind of stand out to you from them that you still feel were pretty good for you at that time?
I was very happy when I finally broke 1 minute.
Yep.
For me on Dam. For all of my times in November of last year, it was Runway Secret Agent. And 25 stands out to me as well.
Yeah. Did you go for that in like left strafe, or how did you go for 25?
What I remember, it was probably, it might have been left strafe actually.
Because I remember I played for about an hour when I was doing that Time Rank Warrior stuff. I mean, I still am. I spent the last fortnight playing for top 100 time ranks. But I remember playing for 24 and going for that in left strafe.
And I was going for 25.
And then, so you've eventually kind of come through. What were you spent a bit of time getting better at the game. What were your first points?
Was a Depot Agent 26.
Yeah, nice. That's going to hurt me the day that 26.
I think that was your recommendation, by the way.
Oh, was it? Good on me. It was my first points too, so I've got an agenda to push there.
It was either you or Eric.
I think both of us would highly recommend that level.
The depot.
Both of us would highly recommend that level. But the other thing is the reason I'm pushing new players to go for 26 as their first points is if I can get more people to get emotionally attached to Depot 26 as their first points, then they're not going to go for the warp strat. And so my 26 is going to maintain value and not get popped.
I'll be right with you on that. I'm going to promote that all noobs go for Depot 26. It's not worth it.
Yeah, 25 warps are all spliced. Like literally, you just sit there and you cut the stream. I've actually pulled up your runway SA 25. So
you got it. Okay.
I'm gonna play this because I'm interested how that goes.
Again,
it's a bit of a blast from the past. This is 30th of November last year. Dr. D.
About right.
Dr. D, Runway SA25, and props to Discord chat for help with this. Could have saved could add a couple of nade boosts for this, but not had to cut more than a second. Says the player that's now got maybe the easiest points in the game, or the easiest big points. All right. I'm guessing this is 1.2 as well, not 2.x.
2 for sure.
Oh, look up in the hut. Oh no, going out in right strafe, nice. How wild is this battery throw?
So I'm not able to see it yet. The commentary is interesting.
Yeah, big wild throw. Oh, B completes on screen. Waits the cinema. Well played. I mean, coming down from 27, so it looks like, that's a PB.
You're getting, for me now, points. Always wait the cinema.
Need swag. I know BK. Cut, or at least when he was in Italy, was cutting all of his end cinemas. I mean, he's a perfect dark player. So those end cinemas are bloody crazy anyway. But he had really finicky power that might just drop out at any point. So he couldn't deal with potentially losing appointed time to not being able to show the end screen. So Eric's just dropped into chat and said, "Yeah, fuck the warp, save 26." I'm on board.
Agreed.
I'm on board with that.
There.
I'll finish my coffee, but I will cheers you all the same, Eric, and finish whatever dregs are left in my coffee.
This year, I'm now watching my Runway 2025 for probably the first time in almost a year.
How wild does that feel to go back and watch your old runs? Like, are you happy that you've recorded that to be able to go back and look at it?
The look up in the hut, and look at the video quality too, and all the ghosting going on.
Yep.
And then just the lines being tighter, the transition to 2.2.
Yep.
A lot of fun to watch, to go back and see that. So, even if you're not getting points, I would encourage you to
I
go back every now and again.
I don't know. I subscribe to, I call it the Verbsky theory, because Fletcher's got vids on literally all of his times. I've got videos for most of mine. A couple of my PBs back in, I think January is the last PB that I've got that doesn't have a video. I actually thought that I'd lost a couple, and then I went back trawling through I thought I'd lost my Surface 2 SA 1 minute and 57, both of which I thought were reasonably shameful because I was going for 56 at the time and paced 56, but choked. But I still managed to go back and find them. They were still on my computer. Fortunately, I was able to trim them up. Verbsky might need it. Yeah, Eric's just dropped in to say that we should audit Verbsky. Just because he's got videos doesn't mean they're proven, because the console's on meth.
Exactly. Right there, we got beat down in chat too. Freeze the time space.
Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, so like, if you go back there, have you been playing 1.2 the whole time, or did you have to transition to 1.2?
With 1.2 immediately.
You started back? Yep.
Yeah. So once I started back on 1.2.
And did you know that it was? Did you know that 1.2 was better, or?
I'd been joining the elite until August of last year. I'd been watching and lurking in the forums and whatnot for probably a few months before then.
Yep, just absorbing knowledge, letting it come in. And so, did you? I haven't actually seen you with a hand cam, so I don't know. Are you an Alien Finger player, or you play keyboard, or do you play some other wacky setup?
Alien Finger.
Yes, Alien Finger Master Race. Very nice.
Alien Finger Master Race.
Yeah, maybe it's a big hands thing. Who knows? That's the other thing about only meeting people online, is that you get zero idea about their scale. You know, apparently, I mean, he's not playing much these days, but Tim Tams is apparently well over 6 foot, like 6'4" or 5 or something.
Really?
Yeah, he's a big guy. I mean, I say he's a big guy. I'm 6'3", so I'm not small.
Okay.
But yeah, you just, after you see people online, like you watch them on your phone, and they're this big. So who knows how big they really are in real life.
The inside scoop here for scale now, for anyone who wants to watch my stream in the future, 170.
There you go. There's the scale for
170 pounds. Hold on here. Let me.
Oh, you're gonna convert this to kilos. It's like divide 1 kilo is about 2.2 pounds.
7 kilograms.
Yeah. And so you start your 1.2 Alien Finger for the most of it. Do you play like 2.2, 2.4? Does it matter? Are you done with 2.x? I'm not sure. You don't have depot points yet, so I know that you're going to have to go back for 2.4.
And so I'm going to have to go for 2.4 back.
But you got Dam 53, so that was Dam 53, Runway 22, Runway 23. Were they all 2.2 times, or?
Those were all 2.2.
Yeah. And did you feel comfortable with that ever, or does it still feel awkward?
It took a while. It took about a day or so.
Yep.
Started really working with 2.2. I had a Dam 55, I believe it was.
Yep.
Down. That was the first level that I ever tried to grind this manner. From Dam 55 to Dam 102, it was down to 54. Nice. But once you're used to it, it makes a huge difference.
Started feeling a bit more comfortable.
Okay.
And so tell me about the rest of your setup, though. I think I've seen a picture of it, but for the rest of us who haven't had the blessing, you CRT player or LCD?
CRT here, and if it's not going to cause too much motion sickness, I'll just turn the computer around. CRT right
the room
there.
Tour.
4 down at the.
We've got the dead weights.
Got to keep in shape.
And
got a treadmill on the other side of the room.
Healthy, very nice. So, do you split? Do you run your N64 into a splitter out to your computer, or how do you get capture?
Here, we'll do the whole tour.
Do the full room tour. Okay. This is an interesting question for me because I run the wackiest capture setup.
So this is Cal Cribs here. We got the splitter right here.
Yep.
GV USB 2.
the standard capture card. We all highly recommend it.
The one audio input and the S video.
Nice.
Computer.
Composite and
video. Left audio.
Yeah, very nice. That's a pretty common setup, I think. Pretty common setup.
All this from reading through the Elite forums.
Yep. Yeah, I wish I had the GV USB for all of my proof vids, like my early stuff until about February. Even my Depot 26 were on an old like $7 cheap Chinese knockoff Easy Cap, and the video quality is really disappointing. Like I watched my Sharpeye made a funny comment on my 26 because as you're running past the roller doors, they literally change from grey to blue to grey to blue, just because it can't handle the colours correctly. So it's a bit disappointing. You can at least see what's going on, but they are not high quality. And so tell me more. I'm still interested in your GoldenEye playing. Do you have a preference for NTSC over Japanese, or one way or the other?
Number one will give me points.
Purely pragmatic. And widescreen. Yeah, most people.
It's standard, and that actually goes into a lot of the way I analyze levels when I'm actually grinding them. Average is for the people who have success at achieving the time that I'm going for.
Yep.
For my setup, so I've got Alien Finger. That seems to be the most popular. Jap card when it's the most popular. I don't have PAL yet. Maybe a couple of years down the line, maybe PAL will happen as well.
PAL's a lot harder to get working in North America because your TVs just don't pick up the signal, apparently.
Exactly.
I feel lucky to actually be able to play a PAL setup and an NTSC setup and flick between them pretty much seamlessly.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, one of the benefits. I mean, it's one of the really good things about the N64 is it's got that whole power brick set up at the back of it. So you literally just use your power brick from on my Japanese console. I just use my Australian power brick. So you just bang bang. I've had to.
Oh, is that how it works? Okay.
Makes it much easier than it otherwise could be. Like some people do wacky things on other consoles, like using step down transformers and all this kind of stuff. I'm not a massive nerd for this sort of stuff, but I just went out for I've gone out and I bought I've got a Japanese or AV Famicom technically is what I got, which is a Japanese original Nintendo, and I got a North American Super Nintendo, and I actually went out and bought different power adapters for them, so I don't have to mess around with step down transformers and all that kind of stuff. You just plug it straight in from the wall and get Aussie power into it.
If I had to get any more complicated than that, I might be at my limit of what I can run.
I'll spend 3 minutes to talk you through my wacky setup and see if this blows your mind, right? So I've got to look at it to be able to describe it. But I've got my N64. It runs into. I've got a 4-way S video splitter. So I've got one S video out that goes to my DVR recorder. I've got one S video out that goes to my CRT, and I've got another S video out that goes to my capture card. Actually, it's relatively simple when I put it like that. But like the amount of wires and stuff that I've got going on behind the TV to be able to pull that off is absolutely wacky. Like because it sounds pretty simple when you talk about it like that.
I'm having a hard time. It seems like a to me.
But to get you've just got the AV cable out of the N64 into the splitter, and then from the splitter you've got at least 2 audio cables plus an S video cable going out to each of those other sources. So I've got 3 cables going to each of a CRT, a DVR, and a capture card. So, I'm just lucky that I'm getting into it at the right time where analog video is on the way out. So all of those, I've got some pretty high quality cables, really cheap, because a lot of AV places are actually selling out of their stock of old analog analog video gear, so it made it easier to get in.
Makes sense.
But that's kind of how it works. So, tell me, this is short fire rounds. What's your favorite PB? Oh, you've just cut out. My computer has shut itself at the wrong time. I've gone quick fire round and my computer's gone, fuck no. Start again. Sorry. Your favorite PB?
That's right. 22.
Just because it's the world record?
But how much time was spent grinding that one?
Yep. Your favorite PB from someone else?
The meme quality of the audio. Runway 22.
Fletcher, did you say?
Just based on sheer meme quality.
Yep.
Of what you can do to the audio. Runway 22.
Nice. What level do you dread playing the most in all your non-pointed levels?
Aztec 00.
What's next on your hit list?
That I'm most where I'm just being and just destroyed constantly.
Oh, you fucking absolutely get killed in Aztec 00. Like I've had, I can't be the only person that's had this too, but I've entered the big room with full health and full BA and still not made it back to the vents.
Exactly.
It is brutal. It is brutal. What's next on your hit list? What's your next level when you come back?
Either Aztec Agent or I had more success than I thought I would on Surface 2 00.
Nice. Wally's in chat. I'll shill his shoot. Watch the Wally shoot. It's high quality. Doesn't have the finish window strat, but everything else is on point, and it'll fix those couple of things for you. And awesome. Would you consider a switch to Perfect Dark at any stage?
Probably be timing that with perhaps League 2020.
Okay. Fair enough.
For me to get Perfect Dark.
What? Wally's just in chat with, why would you do that to yourself for Aztec 00? Yeah, I've got 208 and walked away. I probably need to play it again, but it's...
Get points on Aztec Agent and get out of there.
Get out of there. All right. So you mentioned before that you haven't been playing too much over the last few weeks. You've obviously got a life outside of a video game. What do you get up to?
As far as career, I'm a practicing obstetrician gynecologist. Have been for about 2 years now.
That sounds like a really scary job.
There's a very nice about it, and there's a lot that can go wrong. If I have anything to tell you, typically about pregnancy, it's more dangerous than we like to think it is.
Well, it's one of the wow, I'm going deep on this conversation, but like child mortality and birth mortality is one of the ways that easy ways that they measure quality of life across the globe because of how complex all of that is, right?
And in the United States, if we're going to get deep here, in the United States, infant mortality and neonatal mortality has been increasing.
Really? That's a scary topic. Is that just like quality of medical care or stretched too thin? I mean, I don't really want to bite off too much here. It's not a politics chat.
There's a whole lot to get into there. Probably best if we keep it a little bit light, a little bit on the lighter end.
I would have thought so.
For right now. There's a lot to it. I'd be happy to chat with you offline about that.
No, I'd be interested in having that chat, to be honest. So that's your work life, though. That's how you pay the bills. What do you do to get up? What are your other kind of interests and hobbies outside of playing video games, or outside of this particular video game, I guess?
It's become kind of my thing or my gimmick, as it were. But wine is a particularly interesting hobby of mine.
Yep.
I have a through the Wine and Spirit Education Trust based out of the UK in wine and spirit knowledge to expand my understanding of what really makes wine tick, why you have pair well with certain meal types and others that really don't pair as well. There's a little bit of a science to it.
Yep.
Or to it.
I was on holiday or vacation for you North Americans a couple of weeks ago, and I actually had my first meal with paired wines ever in my life. So I must be a real grown up. But that was a real experience. I'd never done that before. I'm not much of a white wine drinker, and I actually drank white that night. So they were doing something right. Have you got any real quick tips that you can share to a non-white wine drinker about picking good stuff?
Picking the good stuff. You're not one who's really into white wine. There are a couple that are very easy to get into. Pinot Grigio or Pinot Gris.
Yep.
The Italian or French style.
So I'm about to expose my fraudster as a wine. I quite like Pinot Noir, but I've got zero idea about how Pinot Noir compares to a Pinot Grigio. I'm guessing they're different blends of grapes, right?
Different colors. So they're grapes entirely. Pinot Noir. The noir comes from the French for red.
Yep.
Grigio or Pinot Gris, it's the same grape, both in Italy and France. The Italian version is Grigio, and also Gray in French is Gris. Pinot Gris, same grape, just different styles of preparation
and so spirits as well. You mentioned. Do you have a spirit of choice for your whiskey, or a moonshine, or a tequila, or what's your poison?
Cap would probably be Scotch whiskey.
Yep.
Yeah. Also a fan of long James Bond fan. I learned how to like. Love that drink to this day.
Do you, with your whiskeys, do you like them big and peaty, or do you like them complex? Or I'm not smart enough to know like whether it's Islay or Speyside or what they are, but like, do you like them?
I don't know as much about Scotch as I would like.
Yep.
I found that I tend to like Highland malts.
Yep. They're a little bit more open, not quite as big and complex. They're simple in a good way, comparatively, right?
It knows exactly what it wants to be, and it excels at doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my favorite, at least reasonably priced Scotch is a bottle called O'Barn. Which is in that sort of vein. I don't know whether it's Highland. It's not Highland because they make it by the sea, but it's in that kind of vein. It's single malt, it's clean. It's not as clean as the Japanese whiskies are getting because they are like fruity and floral and really open.
To dive into the world of Japanese whiskey, they're doing something right there, no question about it.
Beautiful, yeah, great stuff, really good stuff. Love the Japanese whiskeys. That they're just a little bit difficult to get a hold of. Their prices are going up because they've got limited supply. Right, it's simple economics of supply and demand. That's why the price is going up.
It's quality stuff.
Anytime I start talking about spirits with somebody, I have to tell them to drink Zacapa or Ron Zacapa or Zacapa 23, which is a rum rather than a whiskey. But it's made in Venezuela. I think it's Venezuelan. It's South American at least, it's because it's made at such an altitude. It moves in and out of it just takes on so much barrel because it moves in and out of the wood so much. It's got this massive kind of flavor. without being like that crazy, complex, peaty Scotch kind of thing. And yeah, because it's not a North American whiskey, they don't use as much corn, if any corn, so it doesn't burn. Because that's one of the few things that I've actually been able to learn about spirits is that, yeah, when you use corn, which is what your Jack Daniels and all that kind of stuff is made out of, that's what really gives you the burn when it's going down your throat.
And that's why you're in an American whiskey, like a bourbon or Tennessee whiskey, it's going to burn much more so.
Yeah, and why rye has that reputation of being so much smoother. And music, I'm basing this off your streams, but music seems to be a bit of a thing for you too, mate. What's your taste there?
Heavy metal across the board.
Yep.
You can break heavy metal down into different styles, and I'm sure there may be someone either, but if someone were to watch this on YouTube at a later time, with me on this one, saying that hair metal is not real metal. You will hear that on my stream all the time.
Shameless. It's fine.
Stand by that it is a legitimate form of heavy metal. Dominant form in North America during the 1980s, and I'll have a full argument on that if anyone wants to. Hair metal is a genre that I've explored quite a bit. Stream as much because it's not, I guess, with the North American crowd, and since that seems to be most of who I get in chat, in that people can recognize, black metal is another area that I get enough of.
My dad was over a few weeks ago and was just picking through my record collection and came up to give me his comment on it. He said, he comes up and he goes, "Yeah, you got some okay stuff, but there's too much metal in there." I said, "Okay, what's your definition of metal?" And he said, "Oh, Deep Purple, Machine Head." I go, "Yeah, that's lightweight."
Much metal are three words that I've never heard in that combination before.
Fair enough. So Ronnie Dio, front or back? Do you have a preference for your metal horns? Oh, you probably can't see me because I'm on stream and there's so much delay between there. But do you? Exactly. Is it fingers forward or fingers back for your metal horns? Do you think?
For the back of the hand.
Yeah. See, I'm a front of the hand guy. I like the fingers forward.
The hand, which people will be able to see, and about from when I just said that.
I bet you Eric's in there screen capping this to add more emotes if we give it a metal hands right now.
Right now.
So you're obviously a real grown up. You got a wife. You guys are North American, Arizona, and tell me to piss off if I'm going if you don't want to share anything there. But you're a grown up with a real life.
With a wife in Arizona, we're both in different parts of our career. She's almost done with her surgery residency. I'm out of that and full grown-up doctor now practicing.
Wally, sorry, I'm jumping back a bit because Wally's jumped in. He wants to know if you've heard of Escape the Fate.
I have not, but I'll take down that recommendation.
You'll have to add that to the repertoire. Two medical professionals in the same house, though, has got to be a pretty difficult juggling act to be able to actually make time for each other and see each other.
It's I'm seeing now our horns right now. There's some gold there, Eric, if you want to cap that. It really is about making time.
Yeah.
In our lives had to do a long distance relationship where and what you know about She was in Florida. I was in Michigan.
That's a decent distance, yeah. Down south to Midwest, in Michigan Midwest. Is that where it counts as?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's about 2,000 miles, or and for our Australian and European mates who are watching. It's 3,200 kilometers as well.
Yeah, so it's bang on 2,000 miles.
Difference there. So our time together was very valuable, and it still is to this day, obviously. But it's all about making time. I'm
pretty lucky. Both my wife and I work relatively normal 9 to 5-ish jobs, so it makes life relatively easy on that front. But I don't have too many other questions on my list to have a chat about. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with the mates that are here in chat or going to watch the VOD before we wrap up?
No, I think we covered a lot of ground there.
Yeah, dude. Look, a kind of final question from me. Do you have a favorite world record across either game? That is the current world record, not strictly Runway 22, just because you've got it, although it could be.
See here. I just want to start, so it would narrow it down to GoldenEye for me. I would say just knowing how much of a grind it was, how much of a journey it took, and there was some significant hiccups along the way. This is 59 Cytosis Agent.
Yeah, nice, good call. I don't know, solo just kind of blows my mind. Playing it on a higher level, just the way that they sweep in and out the stairs and all that kind of movement, it's fluid and it's smooth and it's such high skill.
To get it.
Yeah, like you're practically playing nothing else. You practically
capture it and then have to duplicate it to get credit for it.
Exactly. So the way that I thought we might wrap this up was to do a quick one-shot race on your pick of GoldenEye level, and we'll just see one shot who gets the fastest time on that. So, can you pipe your GoldenEye play into your Discord window? And we'll.
That's a very good question. Let's see how to do this.
If not, I'll just take your face cam and I'll believe you, or you can turn around your webcam and you can point it at your screen.
Go back to, hey, maybe we should have practiced.
Bit of testing. Nah. It wouldn't be Cal content without that.
See, I see screen share as an option, so maybe I pull up my OBS. We'll do it here.
Oh, there we go. You got it working. Perfect.
How does that look?
Yep, we can
got it. Okay.
That will work just fine. It will be like potato level quality for our friends on stream, because I've got like a tiny little window that's stretched up, but they will be able to see that you're actually playing the video game. Oh yeah, I mean it's still better quality than that. What's the infamous one? The Aztec run, is Aztec 50 or something like that. It will still be better quality than that. Not Aztec, Egyptian, the one that's like 7 pixels by 8 pixels. All right. I've got my gameplay on the left, yours on the right. What is your selection of levels for one-shot race today?
About it, I know we wanted to keep it fair, so I wanted to pick a level that I don't think either one of us had played in a while.
Yep.
One that would still be decent shot run with Egypt Agent.
Egypt Agent. All right, let's go. All right, I am set and ready to go. It looks like you are too. So, do you want to count? Do you want to count us in?
3, 1, go.
So this is a good level to pick, actually, now that you say it, because it's got that element of RNG to it as well.
Exactly.
Perfect level.
A lot of skill, too.
Now, can I remember the path to pick up the golden gun?
All right. For one run, this is going to be a problem.
Clobber's probably watching this run going, oh, fuck, no. I've just got rid of my dot, too. All right.
Completion, he's got me.
I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you what I got. How many shots I took on the first Baron.
At least you got to the first Baron.
Oh no! Did you have to reset?
I mean, well, we're doing one run. Able to.
I'll give you a second. You can have a second. Go for it.
I'm going to reset. Let me do that.
I know the stream's delayed, so you can't. You're not going to know what I've got. In fact, I'm going to let this whole cutscene play because the cutscene's probably going to be longer than your entire run.
Be a little more,
bit more conservative in the. Nah, go again, mate. Go again.
Gun room.
Get a completion.
Going for broke there. One run.
Because the cinema is still playing for me. This cinema is ages. It must surely be the longest end cinema in GoldenEye.
Easily. Real conservative now.
Oh, we've got the gun. Let's go. Oh, Baron Death, good. Solid look down there, minimising the frames. Oh, the fucking third Baron's run away around the corner on you. What a bastard. What a bastard. I reckon you were on pace to do me.
Yeah.
I reckon you were on pace to you're on pace, but I've got the completion screen up. I haven't actually gone to see what my end screen is yet, so
I'll skip the cinema and get to the completion screen.
All
with
right.
you.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, reveal.
3.
104.
Oh, okay. But to be fair, I had to restart a couple times.
No, that's perfect. That's great. I'm really happy with that. That's exactly what I was hoping might work.
Just pointing out Dudick shot. I wanted to be able to hit that. Killed the first Baron faster, I would have gone for it. That was the plan.
Yeah, that's perfect. Exactly. You got to show off the strats, the swag strats. The hot cues about the Dudick shot.
Yeah, it has a good point here. Are there any questions in chat?
Oh, any questions? We've got too much lag, I think. But yeah, let's. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's open this up.
We'll wait a few seconds. I'll tell you what. Let's wait a little bit. I can get a refill.
Yeah, go grab a refill, and then we'll come back and we'll do that. it's not going to work. All right, so the questions have started dropping in. Let's bring your window back up. So the first one is from Eric, the Terrible Children. What inspired you to develop the Dudick shot? Actually, I can't even pronounce it. Am I pronouncing your surname correctly at all?
Dudick.
Dudick.
The way that I joke about it is it's pronounced in the worst way possible. But I've gotten used to it. I've made up most of the jokes myself at this point. I've lived with it for 32 years.
You're a gynecologist too, right?
Exactly. Yep.
So how did you invent the Dudick shot?
So it was a hot tip. I don't know if it was from Clobber or Joe Fayed or but somebody had told me when I was running Egypt Agent that the second Baron will spawn on one side of the pillar or the other, depending on your position as you're running towards him. So if you get pillar, he'll spawn closer to the left, to the right of the pillar, as is the world record strat. Then he'll spawn toward the right. Well, on one particular run, having known that, to the right side of the pillar.
Yep.
So I made the adjustment on the fly and shot Baron from the left side and then went from there.
And a legend was born.
And history was made. Yeah.
Be down with the serious question. What's your future or long-term goals for GoldenEye Perfect Dark speedrunning? Or any speedrunning in general?
Sure. Right now, so all of my goals would be GoldenEye related. 500 points, getting that properly would be a nice goal.
Yep.
Long term, for going really long term, top 100.
Yep. Nice. That's a pretty solid achievement.
Enough time and enough knowledge. I think top 100 is doable.
And I mean, top 100 keeps moving. I think when I first posted points, I took a look at it and it was like 1,100 points, maybe. Might have been 1,000 points, maybe 1,100. Tabor is the gatekeeper at the moment. He's got nearly 1,400 points, 1,397.
Yeah.
Berg has got, should be showing this. But yeah, Berg has got bopped out of the top 100. He's got 1,323, you know, so, and I mean, in behind that, you've got some people that are making moves as well. There's Huzzy, there's Kev B, there's Matt, Wally is ranked 110th. I mean, MW, who knows, whenever he might post a GoldenEye time, but he's thereabouts. We were just talking, there's Alosha might post some times. Joe is in there, Toasty, D Jones, and myself, and Harry, and that's just between the top 125, right? Like, there's some active players there,
right?
So who knows how much top 100 might be. You might need 1,700 points to be able to get top 100 soon enough.
Maybe. Certainly exciting. That's for sure.
Yeah, you'll have some work cut out. Do you have any? Is there any kind of goal times that you've got that you think might help you to get there?
Let me pull up my times page and see. It's been a while since I've really looked at it. One of them that jumps out, I just need to put the time into it, would be Surface 2, Secret Agent.
Yep.
6 would get me some decent chunk of points.
Yeah, it's 45, I think, these days. It's getting bopped hard, but it's still a solid chunk of points. I mean,
at some point, I may need to bite the bullet and go to Archives. I'm not sure I'm ready to delve into that grind quite yet.
Yep. Archives is a banned word in my chat, so...
Yeah. After the performance today, Surface 2 00.
Yep.
How many points I'll get from there, but points are definitely possible. Right now, I'm closest to points on Aztec Agent, and that's the one. I know there are a couple tutorials I have to watch. As soon as I get back running, I'm going to get into the tutorials. I'm going to approach levels the way that I normally do, and see if I can grind that down.
Yeah.
Which might not actually be a bad topic of how I approach grinding a time.
Yeah, tell me about that. So how do you pick your goal, I guess, before you even start researching it?
I go on what either recommendations I get from others in chat, the Elite Discord, or common times that beginners seem to have. So I'll go through and look for times of people who are outside the top 100 and see what times they have.
Yeah.
From there, this process of mine started at when I was grinding for Bunker 117. I may actually have the notes from that here. Yeah.
So you just make yourself some handwritten notes.
Well, there are some handwritten notes I take. Started doing that really made a difference in my ability to get points, and I would kind of original strategy. For me, I'm a mathematician by college education, so I'm analytical by nature.
Yep.
What I'm doing, maybe this will show up in the window here. You may be able to made a handwritten spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Last 20 at Bunker 17. Looked at the main variants in each of their runs. What makes these runs different from each other together to come up with the average run that gets Bunker Agent 17.
That's highly
analytical. That was what I
emulated.
And that's how I got it. For Dam 53, Runway 22, in the recent runs, using the most up-to-date strategies, figuring out the average of what those players did to accomplish the time that I'm going for.
Yep. And so you just write a bunch of notes. How do you go about it once you're actually into the grinds? Do you refer back to those notes, or do you check on other videos, or how do you do that?
Once I've gone through the information external to me,
yep,
I start running and I get notifications. Then I'll see how those compare to what the average run is. Run that I can use to compare my side to that run and see where the differences are.
And so is there any goals that you've set that you haven't achieved other than ones that you're actively working on, like any that you've had to give away yet?
Giveaway for the time being, Streets 156.
Yep. And
aside for a minute,
what was it that made you get to that point where you needed to give it away?
I've said this before in my chat. It holds true. 3 weeks on Runway 22.
Sorry, go again.
3 weeks on Runway 22.
Yep.
3 hours, I was more tilted Secret Agent was after playing Runway for 3 weeks.
Right. So never again.
Already know this in chat. My wife feels about my speedrunning hobby.
How does she feel about your speedrunning hobby?
Illustrated by her response to my Runway 22. My better half record. Her comment after my 22 run, after I played it back for her, the PB I had, and said, level 313 times. Was her response to a world record in GoldenEye.
That doesn't even count all the quit outs or 24s that you get with shit lines or I remember telling mine that I got Runway 22. I got a world record. She's like, great, well done. Like, yeah, it's tied 120 something ways. Just like,
Right.
wasn't quite the
No counts.
wasn't quite the impressive achievement that maybe she thought it was. Who knows? It's still nobody's ever been faster than that.
Right.
Nobody's ever been faster than that. That's the way that I sell it. That's the way that I sell it. But yeah, that's it. But mate, thank you for being the first victim on this. I don't even know what to call it. Chat with an Alita, something along those sort of lines. Ooh.
That was what I threw out there. See if there's a name that sticks.
What did you throw out? Sorry. Yes.
Or you got MateChat. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it goes.
I'll need to come up with a name pretty quick because I'm going to post the VOD soon enough. So, but yeah, thanks for hanging out and having a chat, mate. It's been good. It's been.
Yeah, man.
I'll chuck some water in my coffee cup real quick, and so that way I can toast you. It's still morning my time, or else I'd join you on the wine. But thanks for coming out, dude.
6 p.m. here.
Yeah, it's been good to have a chat, mate, and nice to actually talk directly. Like I said, we've spoken without actually directly talking because that's the way that it goes. So